And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Here we are on a very hectic day. But this is a late night podcast, so I'm not going to talk about my hecticity. What's going on in the week of late night? It's been a long week of late night. There was a point where I did not watch anything from Monday or Tuesday until Wednesday. And I don't watch everything in late night. That's too much for me. But there was a point where I was like maybe 2 episodes behind on Late Night with Seth Meyers, and there were a bunch of people that appeared on Tonight Show and Late Show. And I was thinking, why can't I watch anything? What's going on with my days? I was working both days, and I was like, what's going on with my days? And then Wednesday, it was I was able to sit down and have like just like a cascade of watching clips. I prefer to watch things in full. To the very least, if there's somebody if the A guest is somebody I'm interested in, then I watch the monologue, and then depending on the show, desk bit, and then A guest. Or I said depending on the show, because sometimes Fallon, they play games before they do the guests. They used to do the guest. They used to do guests then games, yeah. But I guess if you're watching the show from tip to taint, then you're more interested in the guest, so you'll have to wade through the games in order to get through. And maybe the games that's a negative way of looking at it. Maybe the games are just they found that they liven up the audience. Maybe the guests leave as soon as they're done with their segment. There used to be a time when guests would stay on the couch while another guest came out. Ugh, I miss those days. Was that pandemic that changed? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but let me hold on. I'm on Colbert's YouTube channel. Let's see if that is something that changed. I clicked and went to his oldest videos. Jeb Bush, George Clooney. Oh God, they used to upload. Oh Lord, there's a video that says Elon Musk might be a supervillain, and Elon Musk is interviewed in the show 9 years ago. Wow. Okay, I guess before this changed before Colbert's show. Interesting. That's so crazy. Let me go back to the Tonight Show. Let's see if Tony. I was gonna say Tony. Jimmy's oldest guests stayed. A lot of Odenkirk videos. Oh, Tumblr asks. And then it's like 12-second videos. All right, let's see. I'm scrolling through. Hurricane Sandy. I remember that night. That was crazy. Not a lot of interview stuff loaded up here. Wow, that is so crazy to me to see that there's not a lot of interviews loaded up on Jimmy Fallon's Mike Birbiglia. That's great. Whoa, I'm not kidding. It's just like a lot of games and a lot of bits. I guess the interviews were saved for TV. Adam Levine. Huh. I guess that's something that Nate Bargatze looks like a little boy. And Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo. I guess that's something that changed where they just didn't have interview segments, and they wanted, because that's 11, 12 years ago, I guess they wanted people to go and watch the shows, which makes sense. It's an idea that made John Oliver. It's an idea that makes sense. And this is during all his late night days. They have the monologue, they have the games and stuff, but man, they do not have any interviews loaded up. Not even clips of interviews. Cool. What a time. What a time that was 12 years ago. 11, 12 years ago. All right. What happened this week in late night? This week in late night, there were a lot of changes. Now, after midnight, we know is canceled because Taylor Tomlinson wants to tour as opposed to just being a host, which is fair for her. However, they should not have canceled the show. CBS, Paramount should not have canceled the show because I'm sure it costs nothing to do. Now, even though the show's canceled, doesn't mean that they're not doing big gestures of fun over at After Midnight. And I think this week really showed how much this show can do with how little it has and how much fun it can be. They had something called After Midnight Mania, which was a take on March Madness. They got the CBS Sports crew involved at the top of every episode to do little interstitials introducing guests for the week. I'm talking about the entire crew, the studio crew plus the on-court crew, the play-by-play. It was such a good idea, and they did it all week long, taking one person, the winner, from every episode of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, brought him back for Thursday to go head-to-head. I think that's such a good idea, and yet they squandered it here, and their final, what we now know as their final season. Oh, man. This week they had comedians such as Lisa Gilroy, Bob the Drag Queen. I don't know if you really call Bob Drag Queen a comedian, but famous people. Maria Bamford, Paul F. Tompkins, Aparna Nancherla, Vinnie Thomas, Sashir Zameda, Greta Titelman, and Jonah Ray. And I linked to the final, a video concerning After Midnight Mania. I mean, but it's just, I really wish CBS would give this more thought. Because this is such a good idea. But alas. Next, let's see. I'm going to close that down. I'm going to go Late Show. Stephen Colbert. He had a big week. I don't know, same amount of week as possible. You had Maurice Dubois over from CBS Evening News. If you don't know who that is, go watch Desus and Mero when they were together. And he's a New York local news guy who turned national, I guess, within the last couple of months. Jonathan Groff, Max Theriot from Fire Country, Michelle Williams, Hannah Einbinder, Pierce Brosnan, Jenny Slate, Noah Wiley. Noah Wiley's talking about The Pit. I am several weeks behind because currently I do not have Max. I know. You have to let some things go. Oh, one thing I want to say about After Midnight. My biggest issue with this show is the audience. I need to hear jokes. I don't want to hear you screaming and hooping and hollering. That's why I don't watch full episodes. And I would rather. I'm happy that we're getting a monologue. However, I skip through it because the audience, like Taylor, just says things. There's no jokes, and the audience is screaming their tails off, and it's just so annoying. And that the reason I bring that up now is because the same thing happens in Late Show. I don't want clapter. I want laughter and jokes. All right, moving on. Let's see. On the Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon had a busy week with the likes of Jack Black, who's hosting SNL this week, Britt Lauer. Yandel performed. Kevin Bacon, Amanda Peet. Preacher Lawson did comedy. Lewis McCartney. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, which is an interview that I thought would have a lot more views. Olivia Munn, Bon Iver, Wet Leg performed. I love Wet Leg. Wet Leg is a great band. Very high energy. I love it. Perfume Genius, also another good band. Truly, I'm not kidding. I love these bands. Thank NPR for introducing me to them. Haley Steinfeld, who I used to have a huge crush on. Elton John and Brandi Carlile popped up, who they're performing on SNL this week. I miss the days when a lot of these shows you see in the clips would get. I'm expecting important emails, but it's 5 o'clock on Friday, so I doubt I will get anything in response. It's interesting when you see these shows not have any like big interview views anymore. I'm going to talk about views. Oh yeah, Paul. No, Paul was here last week. I'm going to talk about views all the time. Views are important. I'm going to talk about views all the time when it comes to these YouTube channels. Moving on. Late night came back. Seth was in his A game as usual. And one of the things that was really good that we know we knew was going to be brought up. Amber Ruffin's White House Correspondents' Dinner was canceled a couple of weeks ago, and I figured that she would pop up to talk about it on late night, and boy oh boy did she. They canceled it because they didn't want it to be politicized. And she was like, I'm ready. I was going to make fun of those people. Watch the clip. It's an excellent clip where she essentially walks the line and plays both sides and tries not to offend anybody. Nathan Lane, Adrian Warren, Ike Barinholtz, Michael Longfellow from SNL, Rachel Maddow, Rob Delaney, Amy Lou Wood, and Bill Burr all stopped by to sit on the couch. And then Seth and Paul Rudd went day drinking. And that was that's a great segment. I love day drinking. I would love to go day drinking and play these games with Seth. That'd be a very fun thing to do. But I'm always curious. So sometimes Seth will mention when they do day drinking, and I know one time it was on a Sunday, and then I know another time it was like on a Wednesday in the middle of the day, but they do them a way ahead of time, like a week or so. And Paul Rudd was on the Tonight Show last week, so I can only assume they did it last week. Anyway, I would love for the day drinking to be like on a Friday. Like if I was Seth, I would do the day drinking on a Friday, so I can just roll, or a Saturday, and just roll right into the next day and not have it be during the week. Imagine like doing a day drinking, because I know he's done it before, doing a day drinking and then go back to work the next day. Oh my gosh. Next up, Michael Costa was the host of The Daily Show this week. Jon Stewart, of course, popped up on Monday, and he talked to Orrin Cass. But Gia Tabani and Scott Glenn and Melissa Arnaud-Reed were the interviewees for this week for Michael Costa. Charlemagne the God did an opinion piece. And yeah, it was just another solid week for The Daily Show. Oh, and Jordan Klepper had his something on Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, who's a part of the current administration. You know, I like these videos that they do a couple of days before Monday. I think they upload them on Fridays or Saturdays. Which I understand why they do that, but I understand like if they upload on Saturday. Excuse me, I think they upload on Saturday or Sunday. I understand why they do that, but I think it'd be better if they uploaded them on Friday. I just clicked on it. March 29th. When was that? Calendar. March 29th was Saturday. They upload all of the monologue portions into one video. However, each monologue is between, if it's with Stewart, it's almost 20 minutes, and then whoever the host is for that week, they do between like 10 and 15. It's always very interesting to see what they cut. I don't watch the videos, but I know Stewart does 20, and then, for instance, Ronnie Chang did 17. I believe, in total. He did 7 for that last one. Then 10. This is not interesting to nobody. And 11. So he did 29. If you're going to upload the videos, upload them all together. Don't cut things left and right. Anyway, that's it. Moving on. Last week tonight, John Oliver talked tasers and excited delirium. We learned a lot about tasers and how deadly they can be. I have nothing to say there. And then finally, as if somebody at Netflix is listening to this show, and I doubt they are, but we were able to get an on-time upload of the monologue from Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. You know what the problem is? Okay, so now my next problem is, we got this. Fine, great. I like to watch things in full. I sit down like 3 hours ago to watch this episode because that's the only chance I was able to do so. And I have a Google Chromecast with Google TV. It's Google TV. I have Google TV plugged into my LG C1. I pressed play on the episode. I used Netflix last night, as late as last night. I turn on Netflix. I'm watching trailers to, shows or whatever. They have this new show called like The Pulse or something. I don't know. It's a doctor show that I assume is a lot like The Pit. I think it's just called Pulse. I assume it's a lot like The Pit on Max. But we can't have too many doctor shows. Anyway, I was watching that trailer, and then I go, time to watch Everybody's Live. I slide over to Everybody's Live, put it on, no sound. My sound bar did engage, and I went, what is going on? I let it get through halfway of the Wang Chung theme song, and I'm like, what is going on? I pick up my phone, I pause it on TV, pick up my phone, open Netflix, play the episode, sound works perfectly. Go to my iPad, sound works perfectly. I go, you know what? I can't watch it on here. Let me restart the Google TV, sound does not work still. Only on that video. It works when I go to The Residence and I watch the trailer for that. It works I watch the trailers for other things. I'm like, what in the world is this? I open up the app on the LG TV. It does not work on that episode. Everything else works, does not work on that episode. Also, it looks decidedly worse. I don't know why the Dolby Vision is not working on the Netflix app on LG TV. So I have to watch it on my iPad. I just watch it on my iPad, laying on the couch as The Simpsons is playing on FXX. Yes, The Simpsons was turned down. It's fine. Anyway, that's all that was. I just wanted to tell you that. I don't know what was going on. That's never happened to me before. Anyway, it was a great monologue, and he told a Bone Thugs in Harmony story about trying to get them on the show. It was really fun. It was just another solid episode featuring John Waters, Wanda Sykes. I'm going to try to do this from memory. A local lawyer, and Stavros Halkias. And they talked about squatters. It's very funny. All right, let's go on to the story. It's very difficult to find stories sometimes. And luckily I had this one in the back pocket. My next guest needs no introduction with David Letterman returns April 8th. That is right. In a couple of days, the show is back, and they've got brand new people. If you don't know what the show is, My Next Guest, as it's usually called, is a show that began in 2018 with David Letterman. He returns to a sort of late night sit down style show that follows there's no other late night parts to it, but they're in front of an audience and it follows like one person who's the topic, and then we learn about that person, and Letterman goes back to like their work or goes to their home and does like a tour, meets their friends and family, and it's an interesting show. It's good. It's I'll tell you this, I've not seen every episode. That's very true. Sometimes when things on Netflix get too popular, I go, I don't know if I need to see that then. And you see article upon article. Barack Obama mentioned how he wanted to write books. And then that's like only one part, but that's one part of the episode, but that's all you've seen. As I said, the episodes date back to 2018. Sometimes they have a special in between seasons. At one point, the show didn't air in 2023. and then they had a special, and then they had 2 episodes in 2024. I don't know if that's a Netflix thing where where they don't want to pay him very like that, or for whatever. But I don't know. I don't want to guess. But it seemed pretty regular for a little bit, and then it just kind of tapered off. But as I mentioned, it's had wonderful people. Like the first guest was Barack Obama. Next people included George Clooney, Malala Yousafzai, Jay-Z, Tina Fey, Howard Stern. I was just going to say Stern. Kanye West was an episode. Ellen DeGeneres was an episode. I believe also, and don't hold me to this, I think Lizzo was in fact an episode. Wow. Interesting people. Kim Kardashian West. Dave Chappelle. Oh, Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. Will Smith. Wow. Volodymyr Zelensky. Okay. I don't know why you want to support that guy. He won't wear a suit when he meets our president. Oh my God. And it's at different places, different venues. I do like the show. Again, from the literal handful of episodes, of the 20 episodes they put up, I've seen less than that. I've seen so much less. But I do like the show for what it offers. I wonder what... I know Letterman, he does miss the sort of late night, like what you can do with late night. And he's also interested in what everybody's doing now. Because sometimes when he pops up on Kimmel's show, he'll be like, oh, this is so much better than what we had, and things like that. It's great. He produces the show through his Worldwide Pants Incorporated company, which is an excellent way to own your own stuff. He owns all the clips, and we can see him on YouTube, which I really love. Well, and he licensed late night from NBC. Anyway, I think it's the show returns, and we're gonna see some wonderful people, including Caitlin Clark, who I think is the person that he's talking to this year. Maybe he's doing one episode. It just says Caitlin Clark. Let me go to Netflix, and they don't do promos, which is interesting to me. Yeah, it just looks like we know that a new episode is coming. Maybe it's part of season 5 as well. I think it's a great thing. It's very intimate because it's just Letterman and the subject on a stage in front of an audience. I think we're conditioned as humans now in today's age to expect something big to come from this. And there's a part of me that's thinking when we sit down and watch this episode with Caitlin Clark, for instance, that we're gonna hear some all-encompassing truth, and it's gonna be a big story. But in reality, we're probably just gonna learn just a little bit more about this person who is a superstar in their own right, but we're just going to learn that much more about them. My next guest has a lot of executive producers and a lot of regular producers. Maybe it's because they do them in specials and they do it on a rolling basis. I don't know. Anyway, my next guest returns April 8th. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me, talk to famous people sometimes. This week, I put out a couple of interviews with Ryan Hansen and Julia Duffy. That is embarrassing. I completely forgot who I spoke with. And you can listen to those under the Constitutionals podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can subscribe and also listen to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast. I forgot what I was recording. You can watch and listen to any of those shows on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. See video versions of the interviews. Follow us on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at C Plus Comedy. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you later. Bye.